we do have other callers on the line, but before we go to the other callers, I just want to say, earlier Chris mentioned, I mentioned my brother who received a letter, and he has an Anello wine place, and he mentioned food scraps, So he does, if he does have to get a dumpster, okay, I'm going to do his commercial now. I mean, I would hope that you people take it seriously and start going over there because he's gonna need some extra money to get that dumpster.
There might be room in his dumpster.
We pay attention to this and see what the information is important. I mean, what bothers me with both issues we're talking about today is the information wasn't there.
The lack of information.
A caller, you're on.
Hi, Vince. It's Sylvia Virtuoso.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen. I don't want to go off track. I just want to verify one thing from the caller when I was on your show the other day who had a problem in courts.
Yes.
I did check with the courts. There is a sign on the door now that says proper address required, and also on every single ticket that is distributed, it is on the ticket that proper address is required. So they have it in their hand on their ticket, and it is now posted on the door as well as in the building.
Sylvia, I'm so glad you called because number one, you've only been on the job a couple weeks. That's that's number one, and you're already doing. You already have examples of doing your job far beyond the call of duty, and
Thanks.
because that's a court's issue. And the other thing is that hey, if you want real information, you have to listen to the Vince Anello show. That's all there is to it.
That's right. I enjoy listening. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Nice
Thank you
job.
very much. But that's that was a nice call, and that was something that a caller was concerned about, and now at least the people that you two know, and Chris Cadella, and caller, you're on.
Hey, Vince, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
This is typical Niagara Falls. They just sent out a letter, and this is the way it's going to be starting July 1st. This should have been brought out a year ago. They should have known a year ago they're going to do this. And starting meeting with the businesses and say, this is what we plan on doing, what's your thoughts? But Niagara Falls doesn't do things that way. I know a business that got both letters. He's going to get a tote and he has to get a dumpster. Now, which one does he follow?
Well,
Niagara Falls flat.
Well, again, Joe, this is the part that is frustrating for a lot of people. Is okay. I understand that a lot of the clean neighborhood laws weren't enforced, but I also understand that the inspector that we have has always been overworked, underappreciated by city government, and I'm including both the mayors and the council because when the mayor wants to address it, the council gets in the way. When the council wants to address it, they do it by attacking the mayor, not presenting an idea that you can work with. So,
and I understand the thing with these totes. I think it's a great idea for the residents and even for the businesses. But to just throw it out in the last
right. Why wasn't we had $8.5 million surplus in 2008, January 2008? Why wasn't one of the things that was addressed with some of that money early on saying, okay, we have a 4% recycling response. We want to make it 10 in the first year. We want to make it 15 the second year. And when we make it 20%, we're going to start seeing some real money. Okay, we're going to start seeing some real money. That wasn't done.
No, first of all, you have a city administrator who's supposed that's her expertise. She cleaned alleys in Washington or Baltimore. Come on, she has no business being part of this, being part of the city of Niagara Falls. And and you say you're not business friendly. If a guy wants to open a business now, he has to look at this thing here. I wouldn't open a business in Niagara Falls. You're paying high taxes as it is, and I feel bad for the business guy, small business person, like your brother or anybody else. They have to burden. That's another burden on them now.
Well, everybody knows that just the environment alone is starting to hurt Pine Avenue businesses. I mean, how much more are you going to dump on these people, before they just put plywood on the windows and say, see you later,
It's just not Pine Avenue. It's whatever else we have, too.
Oh, no, exactly. And it's unfortunate. Thanks a lot, Joe.
All right, Vince.
Thank
It
you.
was interesting at the council meeting the other night how they were discussing about these letters that went out, and some people got two. It was mentioned that the city sent themselves letters because they have companies that they set up. they have no single database that takes care of, that they know who's who.
No.
I mean, I think that's something they should have thought about completing before they try to get into
Sure.
an operation like this.
Sure.
Start with the basics.
And again, I'm going to go to my point. We are wasting time here, sitting here talking about this because it should have been done. Let me read the city website here that describes our city administrator. Donna began her career in public service in 1988, Baltimore, Maryland, as a mayor's representative and then later a solid waste analyst for the Department of Public Works. That's some big stuff. As solid waste analyst, she became the first female ever to hold this managerial position in the field of solid waste management in Baltimore City. She later, in 1999, became the first woman to become chief of the Street and Alley Cleaning Division in Washington, D.C. In 2003, Donna became the first deputy commissioner for Public Works in Atlanta, thus breaking the glass ceiling in solid waste management and environmental services, blazing a trail for women in non-traditional careers. Now, she comes to town 6 years ago. Wow, we've got Queen of Latrines here, She's going to take our waste thing first because there's her experience. Let's evaluate this program. Let's see what's going on, and let's use my expertise and get this going. Instead, what do we hear? There's been a law in the books for years and it wasn't enforced, so tomorrow we're going to start doing this. Boom. I don't think that this city deserves the time it has to spend right now to sort this thing out when we had such an expert come into town. I think we've been bamboozled. I think we've been fooled, and I think it's time for Miss Owens to leave her position, get somebody that knows what they're doing.
Well, again, I kind of have to hold the powder dry for myself because I don't, she was from out of town, and because of that, I'm not going to question her abilities, but I am going to question when was city government going to sit down with the administrator and say, this is where we want to go, take it on as a project. It doesn't look like anybody was working on it, Craig.
No.
It looks like you just, okay, this is what we're going to do. We just negotiated the contract. Boom, in the contract, we're going to talk about bins, and that's it. Well, what I'm getting at is, where were the rest of the city fathers that we elect to discuss this particular issue? I mean, I just don't get it.
And if you look at the follow-up now, though this originally was her plan, and if it was working great, she'd be pounding her chest about it. Now, because the council voted on it, she's throwing it right over there. If you've heard some of her conversations and comments, it's their program. They voted for this. I'm just telling you how it is. So she's kind of washed her hands already of this thing now that it's become a big thing, and she's putting it on the council because they voted for it.
Well, and when you look at local government, it's supposed to be down to the basics. Fire, police,
Right.
pave roads,
Right.
pick up the garbage. It should be easy.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be this much of a problem.
It's health and safety, and I guarantee that every budget hearing, Christine Forrester, who's the inspector, that we have for taking care of the clean neighborhood issues, and, checks the alleys, checks when you have to file a permit and all of that for refuse. I guarantee that she made a report every year saying our recycling is 4%, 10%, 5%, okay, and this is what we're getting, what we saved. Why wasn't the city council and the mayor saying, you know what, Donna, maybe we should get the 4 to 6. Maybe we should get the 6 to 8. Let's see what we can do. You didn't see any of that. You didn't see any of that. Caller, you're on.
No, good morning. I listened to you guys talking about how bad it is for business there, and I listened on news how bad it is in Buffalo. And then today's paper, they're complaining about how the cheese factories are processing their cheese on wood. Is New York State, the whole state, trying to kill all business, period?
Well, sometimes it feels that way. I don't think they mean to, but I think it feels that way. And I guess the outcome is the same, so it doesn't matter if they mean it or not.
Maybe they ought to pass that drug program, the marijuana thing. They could smoke a little wacky tobacco, and they might be able to pass something better.
Yeah.
It's sad to see that I was once in business as a small businessman. I got out because of the bootlegging. State taxation tells me, well, there's nothing we can do because they ordered their stuff out of state. And I go up to the lady, I go, ma'am, where do you think I buy all my radio equipment from? We don't have production in New York State.
Yeah.
Oh, she tells me. And they didn't, back then, well, they order out of state. There's nothing they can do. So all of a sudden, people are on a computer ordering things. Oh, guess what? All of a sudden, the state finds a way that they can make money.
You know, the registration stickers and the lottery tickets were printed outside of New York State. You know,
It's sad to say that we people, I see more and more. I'll be 65 tomorrow. I see more and more businesses leaving the state and wanting to stick around.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for everybody that's
You as a ham radio operator, I get to talk to other people in other states and how good they treat their businesses to keep them. Here, we treat them like crap to get rid. And then I have one quote. When is the election for your mayor?
I believe next year.
Well, if you people don't get rid of them next year, then and you re-vote them in, it's your own fault. Do we agree on that?
Well, the voters have a lot to say what happens at election time. The unfortunate part is that the voter turnout is so bad that people complain about education, and you only have about 3,000 people voting.
You're going to have Maziar on. There's so many people that I used to listen. Just listen to how many people hate Maziar. When he comes on, they're like church mice. They don't even call in.
Well, that's again, here we go. They expect somebody else to fix it. You yell at him. That's
I yell at them, and they don't do no good.
No, what I'm saying is people send me messages privately and say about being too easy on this public official, that public official. I'm just trying to get them here so that people can ask questions, because apparently a lot of public officials don't have the exposure, or at least here. You can call in and ask a question, and I'm not just going to let it slide by. If you ask the question, as long as you're courteous and polite, I'm going to expect an answer.
Seriousness, maybe all you businessmen should get together and find the busiest day of the city and shut everything down.
Well, they're doing it for us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Thank you.
You talk about the voters and the power of the numbers. The situation with the police station is not Shawn Weber's project. The remove Ms. Owens from office before she digs any deeper is not Craig Avery's thing. This is our concerns, and I don't want to have to embellish this program any further than lighting the first match. Let's everybody that agrees with me, everyone that agrees with Shawn on his things, we've all got to make our voices heard, whether it's letters to the editor, whether it's call-ins, whether it's take out a billboard, whatever. But we can't just say, well, let's see how his fight goes. It isn't my fight, it's our fight.
No,
and we
exactly.
need as many people as we can to call in, to call the mayor's office, to go to the governor, whatever.
When you look at our area, Niagara County, Niagara Falls, when you look at the Power Authority, the Bridge Commission, the casino, the state parks, there probably is no other county in New York State that generates more revenue for the state per capita than Niagara County.
Exactly.
And we just sit here and watch this money go.
And we'll
leave the area.
complain, but not organize.
Right.
And that's the problem. We don't get organized. Look, I tried, when they were holding the money back, just for a little bit of satisfaction, I tried for weeks and months on Facebook to try to organize a demonstration downtown, just so that we would get in the press and let the governor know that we were in dire straits. And the fact was that Salamanca was advanced their money. Now, I know it's a lot smaller city, in a lot smaller amount. I understand that. But it wasn't even being discussed that they were going to advance us our money or help us. Okay, and there wasn't any noise from City Hall. There was just some remarks on Facebook, usually digs. But to say, okay, let's do it Saturday morning, 9 o'clock, we'll meet down there, at the state park, or we'll meet at the casino or whatever, and we're just going to have a demonstration. That's how this country was built on. Right. I mean, everybody forget about the Tea Party?
No, and then
I'm talking about the Boston Tea Party, folks. Let's not start.
No, and then when we did to get the money, it was a big celebration that we were getting the money that was ours anyway.
Right, exactly.
Thanking everyone.
Just like the money that the state park is getting. That was
Thank
money
you for
that we
giving
should
us
have
the money that's
spending
ours anyway.
But listen, we do have a lot of other calls on the line, and caller, you're on.
Hey, you on that dozer! Turn off that machine! Stop that madness now! Craig, Shawn, Vince,
Help me before they bulldoze me into the gorge.
There's a guy we could tie to a
Hang
tree.
in there. Hang in there.
Let's tie him to a tree.
There we go.
That'll stop him. Thank you. Yeah.
What's going on here? 2-3 weeks ago, I saw the first cuttings of, was it maybe old growth? I know there had to be at least a couple dozen huge mature trees that came down. And I'm wondering, wow, maybe this is a part of the, there's supposed to be recreational activities and all sorts of beauty that they're going to create along the Gorge Discovery Center. And Vince, didn't we have a master plan that showed a cultural district that kind of spread out right across the street to that parkland? Don't we have a plan to remove the parkway and make a connection for people to come in from that area to the gorge and to enjoy these nice amenities that would make it friendly for the locals, the tourists, and everybody?
Not only,
Is something?
yes, you're exactly right. Not only that, but the 4 years that I was in office, this is why I personally feel offended by some of this stuff. The 4 years that I was in office, you had USA Niagara that's supposed to help us with developing that cultural district and developing downtown Niagara Falls, and you had our city planner, and behind the scenes, our own mayor was very much in touch with USA Niagara and the city planner during my administration, and they stopped construction along the river. You couldn't have a flashing sign within 500 feet of the gorge. You couldn't have a building more than 4 stories around like Buffalo Avenue or Prospect rather. You had to stay away. Finally, they agreed to some changes, but they didn't change anything until our green mayor came into office. Now you can build 8-story buildings over there. They killed a 25-story condominium building at the old Moore Business Forum plant. They killed another project at the corner of Niagara and 3rd Street. They destroyed a project between the Jefferson Apartments and Fall Street, where the old bank is. And I'm not talking about the little office building, where we're going to take that and demolish that. But what I'm getting at is, they were also so strong in conservation and keeping downtown in a park-like setting until they had to build a police station.
Well, it's interesting because the city, anyone near the park has to ask permission from them. They certainly don't have to ask permission from us.
No.
Yeah,
They
and that's
do what
right.
they want.
Right, exactly. How about not having any more commercial enterprises in the state park?
Well, look at the dollars and cents of it. This building is not going to be cheap.
No.
And they could obviously get some vacant space somewhere else much cheaper than they would to build that building.
Sure.
No doubt.
Well, listen, I'm going to jump in again because it's wild at now this end of the spectrum, and at the opposite end, you have their maintenance facility hugging the edge of the gorge. It's ramshackle. It's a piece of junk. They don't maintain it. It's like nobody cares down there. We're about to put in $50 million investment, and you have the Mount St. Mary's nursing home crumbled, a dumping ground for all the Lewiston Road debris. You got the nightclub that used to be on the other end. I mean, we're going to go ahead and put stuff in. We don't care about what's around it or what we're trying to build into. And then with this thing right here, all I can say about this is if there is the people, again, that are silent, you guys mentioned them earlier on, they went nuts when you started talking about removing sections of the parkway, and they got petitions from people around the world. Where are these people? Doesn't anybody believe in just the simple fact that needs to be tourist-friendly, that we need to take advantage of the prime spots? The aquarium, they want to expand. They're supposed to expand. The footprint that's right around it that Joe Anderson owns, there's a ton of land that could instantly transform that area, and it would be a gateway for people to walk down to walk
Right.
into,
Right.
and make transitions back into the city. That's what it's supposed to be. So if our politicians claim that they have the ear of the governor, then we need the ear right here, right now. And the only thing that, I mean, this is as far-fetched as it could get, but they're clearing the land. What a great time to relocate this project and say, hey, wow, this is a nice little place for a little small performance area. It's already cleared. Let's build that instead. I mean, really, you're talking about drastic action that was taken when that crane showed up on the edge of the gorge and stripped the gorge of what it was, and now it is what it is now because they wanted to do it. Now they're pumping this thing into a spot because they want to do it. It's wrong. There's got to be at least some carryover between the state and the city and the people that are here trying now to make things happen. You know, the conversation has to happen yesterday. So whatever we can do to at least get that going, I guess it has to start with local representation, although if there's an easier way to get, out to the governor's office or wherever this needs to be talked about, Mark Thomas's office, they really need to explain how this fits in with other people's plans. And since they're supposed to be neighbors, even though they can do what they need to do, they really need to be better neighbors and have some communication start. And we have to think about that whole entire area because that is the next 50 years. That is the future. That is what younger people are looking like. Hey, where's opportunity? Where could things happen? They're taking it away piece by piece, little chunk by chunk, and it's just not helping us. So
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
all right,
Maybe
take care, guys.
in their idea of being neighborly will be paint the roof orange and be part of the Hojo's complex there. And they could make it look like it
And
fit
you-
in a
you-
sign that says 48 flavors
You
and
can
the flex will be
guarantee,
happy.
if the building gets built, there'll be groups 10 or 15 or 20 years from now fighting to get it taken down.
Yeah.
It's just our luck because the caller mentioned the fact that now we have the governor's ear. Just our luck. Now that we have the governor's ear, we don't have a mouth over here to speak up.
Yeah, we don't, yeah.
Caller, you're on. Yes, caller, you're on.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Vince and gentlemen. Good program today. I've been listening to you, and I agree with a lot of the comments. For example, people speaking up. And yesterday, I was viewing. I'm not a regular viewer of YouTube, but I was on YouTube. Got connected from another site, but there's a video, Buffalo. I had it on my screen. I don't have it right. It's something like Buffalo, the best designed city. That is a phenomenal video made to really talk about Buffalo. People should look at it and compare the politicians, the activists, the people with the expertise in our area. Where are they for Niagara Falls?
Well, that's exactly what we're trying to figure out right now. Thank you very much, caller. Thank
Good
you.
point.
Check
Thank
that
you.
video out, please. And I think it will perk people's outrage, and then maybe to speak out.
Thank you. Thank you
Sure.
very much.
Thank you.
Caller, you're on. Yeah, caller, you're on. I
Lots
guess
of
we don't-
beeping here.
Yeah, we don't have that caller. I think we have a lot of frustrated callers out there because they're not getting through. But folks, we're trying. We're praying it doesn't start raining so we don't lose the other line too.
Great,
But
great.
I think what's encouraging though too is that there's a lot of, we have to reach out to, a lot of these younger groups like Live NF
Yeah.
and these guys that are young kids that are really interested in making the area better. And those are the guys that are going to be able to help us with the social media and, to get the word out.
Without a doubt. And you know what we are seeing, and we wouldn't even be talking about this right now. We wouldn't be caring if we didn't see, after 30 years waiting and every year saying, I think Niagara Falls is
Right.
getting better. I truly see it. And,
I do
we
too.
can't get our apartments ready fast enough. There's people that want to live downtown. They want to make this work, and I can really see it. Let's get a few of these obstacles out of the way and go for it. And there is opportunities for business here. You can be a small garbage pickup company, and there's probably
Right.
room for 30 or 40 new businesses. Everyone could be going around with their little dumpster trucks.
Okay, we have a couple more callers on the line. Caller, you're on, and go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
It's been a pleasure listening to you, Mayor, and your two guests. But my opinion is, for $100,000 that Donna Olin gets, she should be fired immediately. She has done nothing for the city. Thank you, and have a great day.
Well, thank you very much.
Great
Thank
caller.
you.
Actually, as a taxpayer and a resident of the city, you are her boss. I think whoever believes in that should go to City Hall and fire her. If that's something to do. I'm not being I'm not being smart. I think that either resignation or removal, nothing personal. She's a very nice woman. She's just incapable of doing her job, and I'm not saying anything new. They tried to cut her salary to discourage her. She's still around. You know, let's cut our losses.
But
right
you know,
now.
I disagree with the way it was done. If the council cut the salary to discourage her, okay, it should have been done more directly, you know, and do what's right, you know. The council, the way the charter works, you have the mayor hires with 3 votes, the council fires with 4 votes, okay? So what I'm saying is, I don't see any pressure from the council other than in private conversations where they are upset with the administrator. You know what I'm saying? Why don't we have a group of 4 council? Because apparently the most they've ever had is 3 because they're not moving the ball forward. So caller, you're on.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
I'm curious, is you keep saying that there is already a law on the books for businesses to contract their own private
Right.
collection.
Right.
Do business owners know that when they go into business? Has the city told them this?
Well, that's what I mentioned early on, is that, you know, the least that should have happened in the last 6 years is to make sure that we were complying with some of these laws. In the past, the reason that the law wasn't enforced aggressively was because we only had one person that was actually doing everything, was trying to enforce that law, was also the person charged with doing the permits for refuse. When you have a lot of stuff you want to get rid of, you have to get a permit. You go to a new road, get a permit, and then, you know, she comes over, checks it out, and then you bring it over to the dump. So you had one person doing all this, so she's been really overwhelmed with the work. And I didn't see this administration coming in with the $8.5 million surplus and saying, you know, maybe we should get Christine some help.
Well, what I don't think my question.
No, the law is in the books, yes.
It was an
But
ordinance,
I mean, like when
as
you
she
go, say you go to Lockport, you get your
Right.
doing business as whatever. Does somebody then hand you a list of rules
Usually,
that
if,
say that, you know, if you're a business now,
the only time
you're gonna
I've
have to
seen
pay
that-
for your garbage.
what you're asking, the only time I've seen that is when the planning board, when it's a business where the planning board gets involved, then what you have is there's a full explanation of where you're going to put the dumpster. The dumpster has a fence, it has to have a fence around it. You know, it has to be away from this side or away from that side, you know, whatever. But that's the only time I've seen a really in-depth conversation on how a businessman or a woman should handle their refuse. But thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Can I ask one other thing?
Sure, we have about 60 seconds. Go ahead.
Oh, well then, instead of asking, I'd like to say that on Facebook, I think it's Kendra Casaro
Yes.
has obtained, I think it's the American Legion in the city market,
Right.
and is asking different city officials and
Yeah, to discuss the totes, right?
to come there,
Yeah.
and business people and residents to come and ask questions. It's for next Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
And gentlemen, thank you very much to
Thanks.
the
Always a
Anello
pleasure.
Show on WJJL.
Good luck.